We had some fight nights this weekend. We had some big fights. First and foremost, Canelo losing to Demetrius Bivol. It was crazy, bro. So watching the fight, I remember watching the fight. Let me lower this. I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. To see this motherfucker Canelo getting back down, seemed a little bit tired in the end, like going towards the end. It was kind of weird, but ultimately Bivol did enough, man. He just kept that jab, that fucking jab. I know I didn't talk about it on the last episode, but I was talking about it with a couple of coworkers and shit, so they could back me up when I was saying that jab is going to be a problem for Canelo, you know? In fights where Canelo's not the aggressor, where he's being backed down, he usually loses those rounds. You know what I'm saying? In the Triple G fights, he's lost a lot of rounds. When he's being the counter puncher, he's lost a lot of rounds. Go back to the Floyd, he's lost a lot of rounds. And I want to say when he was in the light heavyweight division before the light heavyweight weight class, he was fighting up against Kovalev. Do you remember that, Sergey Kovalev? And if you guys remember, I remember watching that fight in Vegas, and this fool, I had Canelo losing that fight. Like, I had him losing the rounds. If it wasn't for the knockout, you know, Canelo would have to have done a lot to win that fight even. So going into this fight, Demetrius Bivol, another prime fighter around the same age, I believe they're both 31 or 32. But he looked good. Like, he looked really good going into this fight. He didn't have any like war stories, pretty much, like as far as the resume as Canelo had. But his jab looked very nice. And I was watching his highlights. I hadn't seen him fight, but I was watching his highlights, and that jab was his best attribute, is what I could say. Going into this fight, it was going to be a problem for Canelo, but it's Canelo Alvarez. I think, if anybody, there's somebody you should trust as a fighter, it's him. You know what I'm saying? For him to come back, if he comes back, of course, I think he might still be the favorite, because he's always known to come back better than ever. And to see him lose, it was just weird. So, Bivol kept the combinations on him, kept touching him, lighting him up. Canelo looked sluggish towards the end. But I'm going to say this, you still got to give props to where it's due. This man, Canelo Alvarez, is one of the greatest fighters we've ever had to see. You know what I'm saying? And if you're witnessing Canelo being the prime fighter right now, you're witnessing greatness, because he has gone from every single weight class and cleared that bitch out. Every weight class plus every division, he's cleared all that shit out. He's been to the light heavyweight. He's won it. He went back down. So for him to going back up and putting on all that weight, I think that it did take a toll on him, but we do got to give Demetrius the Russian Bivol some like major credit. Major credit. He fought a good fight. His defense was nice. His combinations were nice. That jab was nice and strong. So he kept the pressure on Canelo, even when Canelo was firing back. Canelo, for some reason, it was weird. Like in the first round, I seen Canelo, he was actually throwing hard shots, which was weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, because usually for Canelo to be the aggressor early in the rounds, that usually doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? He's usually more of the tactician. I'm going to give you the first two, and then we're going to go from there. So he came out throwing punches, throwing like pretty much hard bombs that I was seeing. And you see in the fucking picture of Bivol, his arm, I mean, it was all ratted up, but that wasn't going to matter. You know what I'm saying? He needed to land. So shout out to Demetrius Bivol, but props to Canelo for, risking it. You know what I'm saying? Going to that. You got to be great. So props to Canelo. I saw that, Floyd bet on Bivol. Floyd, that's why Floyd is the greatest, man. He's you gotta, come on, he called that fight. You got to give the man his props. When I call something and it's right, by the way, I was undefeated in the top 3 UFC, just so y'all know. But when you call something and you hit, bro, if one of your takes hits, that's what's up. I always like to give props. So people who give props to me, that's what's up. So you got to give props to Floyd, bro, for calling that, putting that much money on it. So yeah, man, it is what it is. But back now, let's go to the UFC 274, man.